to Junior Church. It's plugged into. We okay? Okay. We have to work on our long-distance communication. I want to say congratulations to Trish and Dominique and Carol and Pearson's on the birth of a new baby, Camille, this week, who was born. Oh, there she is. She's in church. Hold her up. Born on Thursday. Oh, well, look at that. She'd fit in a shoebox. Well, congratulations. Healthy. Okay. Let's turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 through the end of the chapter. And we're taking another look at faith promise. We hope. He's working on it back. Yeah, there we go. Another look at faith promise. I'll read the passage in a minute, but the passage, if you'd get it out for your Bibles, is not, there it is. It's a little slow today, but it's coming. Another look at faith promise. If you've never been in a church with faith promise, it's scary. We have our budget with your giving, and all the missionaries just sit around the whole year waiting for this month to see if you're going to pledge from your hearts to meet our faith promise need. And it is looked at the same way each year. And I want to change your perspective this year. Here's why. Karen and I are walkers. When the weather's bad, we walk inside. And we often walk at Cincinnati Mall. They're just beginning to change it. And one week, for some reason, we walked the opposite direction. You know, the American way is you walk counterclockwise. Is that right? You walk clockwise. No, you walk counterclockwise. That's right. And then one week, we walked the other way. And you know, the whole mall, which hadn't changed at all, looked different. And we'd say, was that like that before? Was this like that before? Things look different if you take a little different perspective on them. And that's what I'm going to try and get you to get a different perspective on things today. There, it's remarkably slow. Oh, it's Larry. Are you changing it for me? Are we out of batteries? Okay, that's good to know. What is that? Close up, you can't tell. Next, you can tell. It's a pine cone. Next one. You take a look at it close up. You don't know what it is. Keep them going, Larry. It could be a knee joint. Who knows? Next slide, you can tell what it is. It's coral. The next one you look, it looks like moon surface or something like that. But the next slide, different perspective, you can tell what it is. It's a loaf of bread. The next slide tells us we're taking a different perspective on faith promise giving. Here's the old perspective. The old perspective had all these following points. I will give more than I have. First point. The next one is, I must compare with those who have financial miracles. Growing up, we heard every year the people get in front saying, I know my income's going to be $10,000 and I'm pledging 20. Or they'd say, last year I did that and God gave me 30, and you're like, oh, you're under such stress because how am I going to do that? The next one, I could be miserable because I am broke if I pledge wrong, despite seeing joy in everybody else. And then finally, I must see Him work in my life only when I've been financially overburdened. None of that's true. But it is a concept that settles on the faith promise idea. We got to take a new perspective. We got to have a new perspective and what it's about. And it's so interesting this year. The new perspective is in the passage we happen to be at in 2 Corinthians. I didn't even pick it. And it's there. Now, I'm going to read this, and then we'll look at the new perspective. Good place to stop for a minute. Remember this. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. Whoever sows generously will reap generously. Each man should give what he has decided in his heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound in you, so that in all things, at all times, having all you need, you will abound in every good work. As it is written, He has scattered His gifts to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. It goes on to say in verse 10, now He who supplies seed to the sower, bread for food, will also supply increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness. You will be made rich in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion, and through us your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. Goes on. It doesn't reach the top yet. He says in verse 12, this service that you perform is not only supplying the needs of God's people, but is also overwhelming in many expressions of thanks to God. Because of the service by which you have proved yourselves, men will praise God for the obedience that accompanies your confession of the gospel of all at once. I've lost my PowerPoint, and I've lost my mic. So it's all on your shoulders, men. Let's keep going. The point I want to bring in that is, it is an acceleration of joy. Not a burden, not a, oh, I can't do this. It's growing in happiness and joy in Christ. New perspective. You want that happiness? First point. I will give what God tells me and not look at others. Now, I will use examples today you can't compare with. I can't compare with, because they had joy. But we can't compare with how much they gave. I can't compare with J.C. Penney, J.L. Kraft, and a host of other wonderful Christians like Carl Linder. You can't compare. But we can use them as examples. Next one. So, I want more of God. So I will give what God tells me, because I want more of God. Next point, I want to listen to Him. Next point, I want joy. And then I want freedom to obey Him. Next point, I want grace. Next point, I want righteousness, and bring them all out. I want passionate excitement in Christ. And last of all, I want people saved, because the Bible teaches people are lost forever without Christ. That's a change of all those. I want you to grab all the joy in God you can get, but also it is based on a realization there's one way to heaven. And if you don't have it, you don't go to heaven. And we don't like to describe or talk about the alternative that Jesus described all the time. Worms and fire that doesn't stop. And he says about Judas, better to never been born, not go to hell for a little while or purgatory, work it off, suffer it out forever. That's part of our driving joy. An awareness that this is real stuff I'm involved in. God called me to be involved in that which is best. Let's go over some more points. Next slide. What you are getting in giving depends on your faith and passion. You may not have a lot to give, but in your giving, is it like the next slide? Is it like that? A few seeds put in? Or is it like the next slide? I didn't know they had that. If you've never seen a planter, that's a planter. The biggest I've ever seen was 12 rows. That's 48 rows. I didn't even know they made such a thing. It's amazing. There's computers in the cab of that tractor that can tell you how many seeds per acre, how many seeds per foot, how many seeds per second. are being laid out as he goes along, that man's serious about a harvest. Now, of course, if you plant a lot, you think about this verse. Verse 6, next slide. Remember this, whoever sows sparingly will reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Generosity is from the heart based on percentages. The lady's 2 mites. She gave all her heart, all she had. God's not asking us to give 100%. When the rich young man comes to Jesus, he says, sell what you have and give to the poor. He does not say, sell everything you have and give it all to the poor. It's a heart condition, generosity, determining the depths that we make when we sow. But let's look at what we can have on the next slides. You can sow little. You can get that. You can sow a lot. You can get that. Spiritually. Step 1, next slide. You must, I must, we must desire a godly passion to reap as much of God in our lives as possible now and eternally. It's about God. I'm not asking you not to want people to be saved. I'm not, of course not. But it's about wanting Jesus in our lives that is to drive our giving, especially faith promise giving. Now let me give some of those examples we can't compare to or don't want to. Next slide. Let's compare greed versus godly passion. Please follow. Greed. If you call greed accumulation of a lot of money, it's not a godly thing. But it does do some good things. Steve Jobs was a very unusual individual, started Apple. He was unclean. He didn't like to bathe. Did you know that? He was one of the cheapest men around. And he wanted to accumulate a lot of money, and he did. But it did us all a lot of good. So, godly passion has got a same kind of drive in there without any sin or selfishness. Well, maybe selfishness. If you want more of God, that's good. But it could be described by some as a kind of selfishness. You know, to want more of Jesus, if that's selfish, go for it. Get all you can. He wants you to. But let's look at some. Let's hear the next. See this. You don't want to be like that. That's Scrooge, one of the many depictions. You want to be like this. That is R.G. Letourneau. How many of you have heard of him? Please raise hands. Oh, not that many. Few have. What a man. 6th grade education. Started out his life raised in a Christian home. At 16, came to the Lord. And he was so gifted in heavy machinery that after a few early failures in his life at other businesses, even being $5,000 in debt for a car dealership after World War I at 28. That's a lot of money. No, before World War I, 1915. You know how much money that was? He turned that around, and he made fortunes, mostly as a man who cleared land and then came up with all the Caterpillar-type stuff that was tremendous. But his passion was not inventing. He was amazing. It was part of his passion. But his singular passion was Jesus Christ. So that at the height of earning all this money and all this success, he went to his pastor and said, I feel like I should be a missionary, a pastor. And his pastor said, God needs businessmen too. So he just continued on as he was doing, giving 90% of his money to the Lord. I can't compare. I can't give 90%. But we can have that passion. Wilberforce was in politics. Went to John Newton and said, should I be a pastor? I get this calling. And Newton said, no, stay where you are. Serve the Lord in politics. And he did away with slavery in Britain. And that's not all he did. So what do we find out? Next slide tells us that seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you as well. But let's look more. The next slide talks about greed versus godly passion. Go on. Next one. Driving forces. Both are driving forces in our lives. They're both self-centered and that you want something, but one is greedy for God, the other's greedy for money. Two can get confused. You know, Roger Howell told Robert and I the other day that he had a meeting with a businessman. The businessman called him up and said, be here at 4. It was 2. He went to see him. And they met, and he thought he'd get your normal 10 minutes with the rich guy. That's what happens. Or they've already decided how much they're going to give. And he said, I had to pick up my kid in an hour and a half from school anyway, so I thought, I can do this. Well, they talked to him for an hour and 15 minutes. They left the room. He's sweating bullets. His wife is going to kill him. Kid's sitting on the curb, other side of town. And he said they came back and gave me an envelope, the check in it, and I've never seen so many zeros in my life. He said it just showed what God could do. You know, I don't think that those men wanted anything but joy in God. There was one guy and then a brother with him. They wanted anything but joy in God. They were jealous for more of Jesus in their giving. That's godly passion. Going on, it tells us that godly passion has good means and good ends. Now, the next one is about greed. Greed can not necessarily have good ends, and it can do things the wrong way. But next one, passion is to know the joy of God and sharing that joy with others. Godly passion wants others to have that joy. Next one, godly passion is not about having more than others, like greed always is. It is wanting as much of God in your life as possible. Last 2 points, Larry. Let's just throw them up there. Greed has no place for God. But let's look at this next one. I want to show you how passion changes things. Think of a father. Think of a mother. And let's look at these pictures. There's a nice picture of a father who wants to care for his daughter. The next picture is a mother who's out working to provide for her family. The next picture is a father who's come home and providing love for his son. And there's one of a mother caring for her daughter, wanting more for her. That guy has it all. He cooks, he cleans, he takes care of the baby. He's got a passion. You know, that kind of passion drives a lot in our lives and our world that's good. We've forgotten how good it is to raise families, to provide for our children, to store up money and buy things for them to have more in a good way. Our world's forgetting that, you know. Our world's forgetting that. We've lost our way. And that connects to our passion for God. I think the basic idea of passionately providing for loved ones naturally connects with passionately seeking more of God. We know how to do it. So let's go on. What you decide in your heart. That's what this verse up here says. So, whoever sows sparingly will reap sparingly. Whoever sows generously will reap generously. There's your challenge. How do you do that? By doing what God tells you. Each of you should give what he has decided in his heart to give, verse 7. Not reluctantly, but what God tells you to do. Don't compare apples and oranges when you look at another life. Next slide. You can't measure it out. But here's what you do. Give what God tells you to do without comparing it to others, and give it freely and give it cheerfully. God measures the percentage. You don't have to. And what happens? This is what happens. You have a joy in your heart. Verse 8 says, and put it up there, God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that in all things, at all times, having all you need, you will abound in every good work. Notice that. Your giving, your loving, and your wanting more of Jesus is making you ready. Now, corny illustration. There was a movie years ago called Karate Kid. Remember that? It was corny. The kid met this, he's being bullied. He meets this Asian guy who's a karate expert and says, teach me to fight. The guy says, come over to my junkyard and I'll teach you, but don't ask questions. Do what I say. So the kid comes over and he gives him these big block things to polish this floor all day long with exactly the same motion. And he's, what's this got to do with karate? And then he paints the fence all day long. It's a junky fence. No one needs to paint the fence. He's all mad, using the same little motion. And then he waxes the car, blah, blah. I don't remember how many things he did. And finally, he tells the Chinese guy or the Asian guy, are you going to teach me how to fight? I'm just cleaning up your junkyard. And so the guy like throws out a punch and he says, wax the floor, and he blocks that one. Throws another one, he says, paint the fence, and he blocks that one. And another one, and each of the things that he was doing were preparing his muscles and his body exactly the way he needed to be preparing. But he just thought he was giving away free labor. He wasn't. And he was doing it crabbily, grumpily. If we serve the Lord, pour ourselves out as he calls us, not measuring against others, he's preparing us for what's ahead. You know, you cannot prepare for the assails of the arrows of Satan that will assail us. That's not possible. You can only obey, and God will work. Next slide. He has scattered abroad his gifts to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. Wow. So this is connected to what I need most. Do you know what you need most? Next slide. Righteousness. Do you know that's what you need? I always thought of forgiveness. I always thought of all these different things. But they're all based on righteousness. That's what it's based on. That when Jesus forgives me, he's changing my life now, sanctifying, making me holy, and he's giving me the righteousness of Jesus Christ, and I need that righteousness. And only then do you know more joy. I'm not saying you'll be full of yourself of how good you are. Matter of fact, it's kind of the opposite. The more righteous we get, the more aware we are of the sin that's there. Yeah. It's okay. But you know, I don't know how many times Karen and I have seen Pride and Prejudice. I admit I like it, the original chick flick. But there's one scene where one sister says, I hope you can be as happy as I am. And she says some simple words. I can never be as happy as you are until I'm as good as you are. God's preparing us to know joy by making us righteous and know more of Jesus. There's so much more I want to say, but technical difficulties have prevented me from going as far as I wanted. But let me say a few comments. Do you have a godly desire? I'm meaning by that a desire for more of Jesus. There's nothing better. Want him. Selfishly want him, if that's the word that fits. Because there's never any way you can truly be greedy, selfish, if you want Jesus. Because that's what he wants you to have. Any more than you could love your parents or your wife or your husband or your children too much. Secondly, give what God puts in your hearts to give. And thirdly, God will supply. You know, farmers put their seed in the ground, but they always seem to have enough for the next planting after harvest. God's saying, I will supply your need. And finally, this is our way here to participate in the spread of the gospel to the ends of the earth. They're lost without us. Pastor Yusuf over in Iran is willing today to die for Jesus Christ. There's a death sentence on him. He could be dead now. He believes people are eternally lost without Jesus Christ. That drives the whole thing. Let's pray. Father, we want more and more of the joy of Jesus Christ in our lives every day. We want to know you better. We want to live for you. We just want the best in Christ we can have. Guide us through these principles of your word to want you, to do as you tell us, to build hearts ready for joy by expanding our righteousness. Make us more like Jesus. And let us remember what's at stake. Seeking the world for Christ. If anyone here doesn't know Christ, may they find you this morning. If anyone here is being led to give a specific amount, give them the courage to do it. We pray these things in Christ's name. Amen. Well, I'm just going to let Carol play a postlude for us and skip the hymn. Joe's going to give us a benediction, and I'm going to bless the food. So let's all stand together. Sorry I've run late today. And please stay for the dinner. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the way the missions committee is providing for us. May it keep our minds set on the needs of our world right now, even as we eat. In Jesus' name, amen.
I'm going to do the benediction. No. Okay, that's all. Remain standing for the benediction, then we'll have a postlude. Now to the King, eternal, immortal, invisible, the only God, be honor and glory forever and ever. Amen.